What's up, everybody? It's Rumi Ryan. Welcome to Black Author Brand Presents Poet Spotlight. I am so hyped tonight. I have been waiting for this interview with Imani Thee Poet. I'm so honored to have you here and so excited to have you here. I think between reading your bio and kind of scoping around your essence on social media, I'm interested to know how you think as a creative.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to dive in.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Imani Thee Poet, and I am an author and poet based out of Carson, California. I have been working in marketing and advertising for the past 5 to 7 years. I'm currently at an ad agency now, copywriting for Toyota. In my free time, I love to write poetry. I've been writing poetry ever since I could pick up a pencil, since childhood. I just love to make rhymes and just write. I used to sit at our computer. Remember when you had the little computer in the family room, the family computer, the huge, from early 2000s. I would just sit there and just write stories. I would just sit there and type, and then I would print it out in pink purple ink and be like, I wrote a book, read it. To all my family. So it's really good to see that come full circle and have an actual book that I can be proud of and share with people. So super excited to be published. I definitely felt like a childhood dream come true. My poetry book is called Look How Far You've Come, and it's been out since February, and we've had 270 copies sold so far. So it's doing pretty good.
Woo! That's what's up. How did you come up with that title?
I've just been writing. And then when I started to put the work together, I was just like, okay, these are poems from different points in my life, and even some fictional ones in there. And I was just looking back at everything. I was like, wow, look how far I've come. So I was like, okay, what's a perfect title? Just very reflective. A lot of the pieces are pretty introspective and reflective. So I thought that title would suit the work.
I like when I encounter work that is reflective. It just gives the reader a little more depth into who you are as a writer. So yeah, I know that we're going to get into some stuff. Those of you who don't know, with this Poet Spotlight, we're typically going to ask 5 questions. And from those 5 questions, we'll branch off into all manner of conversation and discussion. There are some quintessential questions that other authors or authors to be would want to hear from someone like you. Why do you write?
Starting off with the hard-hitting questions.
Right. Go right in on it. Why do you write?
I write because it makes me feel lighter. I feel like going through life, experiencing everything. This is all our first time on this planet. This is our first time living life. And for me, when things happen, even if it's a small thing, just sitting down and writing about it or just writing in general, I just feel like a weight is lifted off my shoulders. So for me, it's definitely therapeutic. And it's something that's fun to do. I remember being young, being grounded or something, or on punishment. You can't watch TV, you can't go outside. I would just write. Unfortunately, I was grounded a lot. So a lot of writing growing up.
Is there a marked difference when you are not writing?
Definitely. I recently tore my Achilles tendon, so that was pretty sad. Yeah. I also played volleyball, forgot to mention that. I played all throughout college, was a collegiate athlete.
You do a lot, girl. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing since high school. So I had been playing, and I was playing for a grass tournament. I tore my Achilles. So that was a pretty dark place for me. I wasn't writing. I was just sad, in bed, not wanting to think about it. And then I recall at work, I actually started a poetry workshop at my job. So at a corporate space, we did a poetry workshop, and I was hosting it. I was on crutches. I came to host it, and we started writing, doing a free write, and everything just kind of came out. And I did feel a lot better, a lot lighter.
I resonate with that. Same here. There is a marked difference when I'm not writing. And I do feel lighter when I write as well. I feel you on. I don't
more. It's more on your mind. When you write it out, it's kind of done, it's over with. But I tend to dwell on things if I don't write about it. I keep thinking about it.
Yes. I'm the same way. I resonate with that. That's good. What are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm trying to sell some of these books.
Hey, let's go.
Like I mentioned, I have sold 270 poetry books so far, getting closer to selling all the books.
Yes.
So
We need
really
to help you. Yes. Let's pause right. That's whenever you guys are watching this, that's 30 books away from your initial vault of material. Like, where can we get your book? Let's just start right. If we want to buy your book, what are the number of places that we can go and get that?
So right now my book is online at barnesandnoble.com. So if you type in Look How Far You've Come or my name, Imani Thee Poet, the book will show up there. You can also DM me at Imani Thee Poet, 3 E's, and you can buy one from me there as well. So that's what I've been working on, trying to sell 30 more books so I can say I've done it. I've also been working on a novel for a while. It's like a murder mystery kind of novel. Back in college, I took a short story class, and our short story was like 30 pages. So I remember being like, I might as well keep going.
Yeah.
And I did. So on page 182 of that, hoping to stop at 200. So almost there.
I want to pick your brain on something, because we at Black Author Brand, we do everything from like writing sessions similar to the poetry workshop. And sometimes we'll get into these Black Author Connects where we're just talking. And we've had several points of conversation with authors who switch gears. Your book that's out right now is a book of poetry, and now you're working on a novel. How do you feel, and how is it for you as an author with making a pivot or having two differing types of literary work that you are formulating at the same time?
I always thought that the fiction novel would come out first. That was the thing that I was working so hard on. Yeah. I was just writing poetry in my free time, not really thinking about it. And my experience was kind of unique. I went to an open mic night and met with this poet who was hosting it. And her book was in that bookstore. And she was like, I know some publishers that will publish you right now. So that's when I kind of changed gears and focused on. And I said, I have a fiction novel. And she's like, this publisher is poetry only. So I was like, okay, I need to switch gears. And it's just about priorities, prioritizing what you want to finish first. So I did have to put that novel on the back burner and focus on the poetry book. I think it's just about prioritizing and being focused as well. It took a lot of focus, a lot of long hours after work, transcribing everything, rearranging, rewriting. I like that.
I think a lot of writers are doing that these days because, when we think about old school writers like Langston Hughes, Maya Angelou, right? They were either all poets or all novelists. They stuck to their genre. And there are a lot of writers of our time that are launching out in different quote unquote industries and are just as powerful. And for me, it speaks to the level of confidence that you have in yourself as a writer, as a creative, and to just do the damn thing, because there's no one out here telling you that you only have to write poetry, or you can't switch gears, or you can't take advantage of a grant opportunity or a publishing connect. I love that part of your story, and that you have been so insightful to be able to kind of follow your own flow, follow your own path. It sounds like you're tapping into different genres. There are people who are going to gravitate to you that like poetry. There are people who are going to enjoy the novel. And now I'm excited because I don't even know what you're going to come out with next. I love what you said too about having to put the novel in the back burner, because sometimes you can try to do too much at one time.
To add one more thing, holding yourself accountable, giving yourself deadlines. I feel like a lot of creatives have issues with deadlines and timing, and it's so important.
Say it again, Imani. Say it, speak it to the mic, let them hear you.
A deadline is important.
Yes, it's important for the writer, for the publisher, for the designer. It just helps the project get done.
Right.
And that feeling of expression that comes at level one from just getting it out of your body. For me as an author, it has been magnified as people read the book, as people see it on social media. And it just sucks when you can't meet the deadline. That process of publishing can become a little more grueling if there are missed deadlines. So that's another very good point. I hope y'all listening, because You in the right. We talk about this all the time here about finishing what we start, about meeting deadlines, or like you said, just setting them. There are a lot of people we talk to that are just writing, and I ask, when are you gonna publish your book? I don't know. You got to set a date. What's your greatest challenge as a Black author?
I told you I work in corporate America, obviously predominantly white space. And back in February, they actually threw an author's hour for me. So we did like a Q&A. The senior vice president of D&I came down and interviewed me. I like performed some pieces. And that was an amazing experience. But I was so worried about the content that I was going to perform. I didn't want to offend anyone. And it's like, white fragility shouldn't be at the top of my mind when I'm thinking about what I want to perform. So that's been my biggest challenge, kind of fighting back against that little voice in your head that's like, what if they don't like when you say fair-skinned devils? And it's like, well, that doesn't have anything to do with them if that's not them. Like, you shouldn't be offended if that's not you. So kind of trying to combat the tiny voice in my head that's trying to make non-Black people feel comfortable, especially because that's not a thing that people do for us. So it's like, why is that even in my mind? Like, how are they gonna feel? That's definitely one of the big challenges. And then also secondarily, kind of the fear of being judged by your community. I know in my book, I speak a lot about, there's a chapter that's about depression in general, like mental health, depression. And that topic can be like taboo in our community. People don't like to talk about that. What you got to be depressed for? You got a roof over your head. You got clothes on your back. So talking about that topic, I was afraid to be judged by my community, but I think it's something that's important. We should talk about it, and more people are doing it. So that makes me really happy.
That is very, very good. You said so much. I would love to go in deeper with what you said about white fragility, because I deal with that. And I know personally a lot of other authors, particularly poets too, who actually perform publicly, that deal with that challenge. What gets you over the hump to actually be who you are in that particular environment?
If they're going to buy the book, they're going to read it anyway. So they might as well be mad now rather than buy it and be mad later.
Very, very true. Very true.
Own it. Like, I wrote it. So stand on business. Stand on what you said.
Yes. I think that is so dope. And I wanted you to share that because I really do feel like a lot of authors need to hear that. There is a mechanism that happens in most of us, even before we get to the publishing level, where we are self-editing as we write. We're imagining what this piece and this sentence and this chapter will sound like in a room full of our family or our friends or white people or Asian people or all Black people. And I feel that button. I feel that mechanism in me saying, ooh, don't say that or craft this way. And I am working to undo that, and it's encouraging to hear that you're on the same wavelength. And I know there are other authors and poets who are on the same wavelength too. And that's a point of encouragement for us to be who we are, no matter where we are, and find the boldness and courage to just be honest, because you're right. It's in our books anyway. So if I might as well be myself, because when you open these pages, you're going to see who I am. Tell us about your book.
My book is a poetry collection. There are 5 chapters, I believe. There's a chapter about womanhood, being Black in America, depression, love, and heartbreak. So I feel like it touches on a lot of different themes within the human experience. There's also some fictional free verses in there, just to give people more food for thought, like it not all being from my perspective, trying to reach different perspectives. Some haikus in there. There's some free verses, couplets, and I'm just really excited to share with everyone. There are some parts in there that can get a little dark, but there are also some parts in there that are really light and lighthearted and put a smile on your face. So ranging from all the different parts of the human experience.
That part is so interesting. It makes me want to read your book, not just with the inclusion of things that are dark, because some people just kind of gravitate to the dark. But I be more engaged in is the mix of dark and light, the bitter with the sweet, the good with the bad, the beautiful with the ugly. I like when it's a comprehensive work. I'm that part about it. Even when I read it in your bio, I'm like, taboo, what is darkness? Ooh, what is that? And I think that that's a I think it's a good thing to have as an author, to have a little bit of mystery, to have a little bit of wonder, but also to be very relatable. There's a post, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but we posted Imani on our TikTok, and I think it's a coffee house, and you're sitting on this stool, and your tone and how you're speaking is so captivating. And the way you speak, what is captivating is not only your voice, but it's what you're saying and how you're saying it. I know you feel like I'm like ego stroking you right now, but I feel like it's important, no, seriously, to give people their flowers. And it's important to note the things about you that stand out. We talk about, and I need to caveat here, when I work with other authors, I oftentimes ask them, what makes you different from the next poet? What makes you different from the next author? You would be surprised at how many things that make an author different that they will withhold because they feel like it's not important enough or it's not significant enough. The tone of voice, how you speak, where you're from, your perspective, the smallest detail can cause such a significant difference. It could be your whole vibe, your whole brand wrapped up in one. And watching you on stage, there is an Imani kind of sound. It is honest and truthful and clear. And anybody who's watching this, I implore you to go on our TikTok, go to her page, and not just get into the book, because we want you to do that too, but you really have an impactful performance. Are you ever nervous when you have to perform?
Yes, and I've performed so many times that you would think it goes away. It never goes away, no matter what. No matter how many times you perform, I don't think you ever stop being nervous. And for me, I'm not even nervous until I'm up there. Like, I'm fine. And then I'm like, oh shit. And then you just kind of go for it.
Right. What's one piece of advice that you would give to, I don't know, any Black creative?
It would be to let your imagination know no bounds. I feel like we often think about the mediums in which we're portrayed. We think about all the movies we're in, all the stories we've read where there's a Black person, and we're often painted in a light that's so like constricting. Like you're just in a box, and this is who you are. This is what you write about. This is what you say. This is what you think. And it's fine to break out of that. Don't ever feel like I have to write it this way because I'm like, you can literally put yourself anywhere. You can create anything. You no need to think, oh, this is in my lane. Every lane is your lane. Be in every lane. Do all the things you want to do. Write all the shit you want to write. And don't let anyone tell you that, oh, well, for your demographic or urban, like don't let those words ever bring you down. You don't have to stay in those boxes. If you want to, if that's your experience and you want to write what you know, that's 100% fine, but never let your background determine what you create or what you see, all the things you see about yourself in the media, all the things that you consume. That doesn't have to be you. You can create something completely different from what you've seen. I know growing up, I read a lot growing up. I've read so many books, and I remember there was just always the Black best friend or like the Black side character. Like the Black person was never the character, and the stories where the Black person was the main character, it was Black trauma or it was some, and I just got tired of that. But as a kid, I honestly didn't even think about it because I just thought I made everyone Black in my head when I was reading as a kid. So shout out to me for that.
Yes.
But as I got older, I said, damn, like all those main characters and all those books I read growing up were white. And that's crazy. Like I didn't even think about it.
I think we need to hear that, like to just whatever those like boundaries or not boundaries, but whatever those limits are on what we think is possible or what we think will work. We really do need to let that go because the world is wide open at this point, and I would go as far as to say, wide open and broken. And it's a great time for our voices to just be what they are, to just resonate our stories in totality, the good, the bad, the indifferent. And I think it's good for us to see our stories in white spaces. I'm gonna just put it out there. But it's also great to see our stories in our spaces, because as an author, like, I need to see that. Like, when I saw the forum and I saw your name and I saw, like, it's wow, like, there are so many talented Black creatives, writers, authors, poets, authors to be out there. And it's so encouraging to see that. So you're spot on, man. Spot on. I'm gleaning something from you now, just even being in the interview. So I thank you for your time. Any, last words, any reminders for anybody who wants to connect with you, or just, anything that's on your heart, for real, for real?
I'm Imani Thee Poet.
Where did you get the "the"? Want to ask you, like, how did you come up with Imani Thee Poet? Like, does it mean anything?
Honestly, Imani the Poet was taken on social media.
I like that. I like
and I was honestly thinking about changing it to Imani Thee Poet, because my last name is Du Bois. So I thought Imani Thee Poet. Coming soon, maybe, who knows,
Yeah.
Maybe after I sell these last 30 books, I can change it. But yeah, my name is Imani Thee Poet on Instagram and TikTok. I post poetry, I post little snippets, open mics, and things like that. You can buy my book in Barnes & Noble, or you could DM me if you want to say hi or anything. I'm looking into having open mic nights, like looking into hosting them at a venue in Hawthorne, so stay tuned for that.
Thank you so much, Imani, for your time. Thank y'all for tuning in to our Poet Spotlight, and please stay tuned for the very next one.